Welcome back to the predictions videos today, and we have a very special guest joining us today. It's TikTok superstar Joe K. So Joe, thanks for joining us and being the first guest on the predictions videos. How are you today?
I'm great, mate. I'm very good. Yep, happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. How have you found the season so far, and have you been to any games?
I didn't get a chance to go to any games last weekend. I'm in the middle of moving house, so
Fair enough. Fair
wouldn't
enough.
get to add 20, but looking to get to Wanderers Western United
Oh,
this
that
weekend. So that's good.
That will be a cracker of a game. But before we get into Joe's predictions, let's have a look at how we did last week. And because we didn't have a guest last week, I'm going to take the highest score from our tipping league. So at the moment, I am on 2 and the guests are on 2. Let's start off with the first game I will be going to this A-League season. Brisbane taking on Sydney at Suncorp Stadium. It's Australia Cup final rematch. Both teams coming off disappointing results. Sydney obviously losing that big blue 2-0 to Melbourne victory. And Brisbane drawing with Macarthur 1-1 and no real attacking output without Thomas Waddingham. Waddingham will be back this week after Young Socceroos camp, and Brisbane will be looking for him to provide an attacking outlet, and I think he will, and I think Brisbane will win this one 2-1. But let's see what Joe has to say.
Well, we obviously Australia Cup final rematch here. Very excited to see what happens in it because I think we might get a bit of a different game. Obviously, going to be in Brisbane this time round. And look, I actually think we're going to see Brisbane get revenge in this game. Thought they were decent in that first game. I think both teams probably didn't have the best start to the season they wanted.
No.
Yeah, so look, I'm probably going to go for a Brisbane Roar 2-1. Close game, but I think Brisbane Roar will get the home advantage over the line.
Coming on to game 2 now, it's Wellington taking on Perth in the distance derby over in NZ, the first game over there for the season. And Wellington are coming off that game where they kind of set up for that point against Western Sydney. Perth coming off that disappointing 2-2 draw with the Jets where they really should have walked away with 3 points. Alex Paulson obviously coming off that unreal performance against the Wanderers. I think he had 10 plus saves. And Perth, in my opinion, didn't really provide that attacking spark that they will need against a strong Wellington defense. And for those reasons, I'm going to go with a Wellington 2-0 win, but let's hear what Joe had to say.
Yeah. Well, look, it's again a game that could go either way. Wow, really don't know which way to go with this. Nick's look, they set up for a point against the Wanderers and they got it. Are they going to go for more in their own backyard? I think they will. But I think Glory are going to pick up the win on the road 1-0.
Moving on to game 3, the late kickoff on Saturday. Western Sydney are taking on Western United at CommBank. Second home game in a row for the Wanderers. Wellington obviously set up that low block against the Wanderers last week and forced them to kind of cross the ball in towards Antonsen. It didn't really work. And it definitely won't work this week, especially with Western United Jacob Tratt almost at 2 metres playing at centre back. And Western United looked very good to start off this A-League campaign. Daniel Pena looks very sharp, and Lockie Wales looks to providing that attacking outlet for the Western side. But I think the Wanderers' defence will hold strong. It's going to be a test, don't worry about that. But I'm going to go with the Western Sydney 3-2 win. But let's see what fellow Wanderers supporter Joe K had to say about it.
Well, look, they say styles make fights, styles make football games as well. I think last week the Knicks, they set up perfectly against Wanderers round 1, weren't offering anything, got out there with 0 draw. This game, though, I think is going to be completely different, much more open. Wanderers really have got to pick up the win in this game. Otherwise, fans might not start coming back. So I'm going to go big goals, big game, 3-2 to the Wanderers.
Now let's move on to the Sunday kickoffs where Mariners take on Macarthur at Gosford. Both teams will be coming off the back of AFC Cup appearances with Mariners playing at home and Macarthur having to play away. This will definitely play into the hands of the Mariners. Macarthur didn't have a very far trip, but it's hard logistically to get to those places. The Mariners will be looking to bounce back after that disappointing result in Adelaide to kick off the season, losing 3-0. And Macarthur looked very good going forwards. They produced many chances against Brisbane over the last week, but they just lacked that last finishing touch up front. But coming back to Gosford would be a confidence booster for the Mariners, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 win here. The two teams in the AFC Cup this week. Macarthur obviously travelling, Mariners at home. Will that play into Mariners' advantage?
I think it'll have to. I think it's definitely going to play a part because I think Macarthur off to Cambodia.
Yep.
Which that's an away day, but yeah, look, that's going to be tough for the Macarthur to come back. As well as that, they're also playing away when they get back in up at the Central Coast. So I think Mariners probably going to pick up the win in that one. Bounce back from last week, 2-0.
Game 5, the Victory and the Jets. Let's see what Joe has to say about this. Teams, Victory taking on the Jets at Amy Park. will their midfield reign supreme again this week?
Yeah, I think they're going to reign supreme all over the pitch in this one. I really like this victory squad they've put together. The only thing I'm slightly worried about is scoring goals, which obviously their biggest issue last year, Fornaroli up top. But hey, they scored 2 against Sydney FC. So I think they can score more against the Jets, and I think they're going to win 4-0.
And I agree with Joe's points there. They do look very solid, the victory side this year. They could go very far in the competition. It's just that lack of goals, like Joe said, that kind of doesn't fill me with that much confidence with them going forward. I can't go with the 4-0 like Joe said. I'm going to go with the 2-0 though. And last game of the week, Adelaide take on Melbourne City. Melbourne City coming off the back of an Asian trip over to Thailand, I believe. And they did not look impressive last week against Western United. Obviously, Western United is a very strong squad this year, but City just didn't provide that attacking outlet that they normally do. Johnny Yull looked very impressive for Adelaide. He wanted the ball constantly and wanted to play it out left and right. Adelaide will have Coopers rocking. That place will be a fortress this year yet again. But Tolgai Arslan looks unbelievable. He looks like he could be a contention for Johnny Warren this year. So I'm going to go with an Adelaide win. I know City losing 2 games at the start of the season will be a disaster by their books, but I think Adelaide have enough to beat them, and I'm going with a 2-1. But let's see what Joe K had to say.
Adelaide United looked good, very good that first week, especially how much youth's in that team. It's ridiculous how they were playing. City. I don't see City losing 2 games back to back. I just can't see it. So you know what? I think they're going to throw a spanner in the works. 1-0 Melbourne City away from home.
Thank you, Joe, for coming on, and hopefully you can get down to that Western Sydney game.
Yep, I'll be there. RBB, coming.
So thanks again for Joe for coming on. I'll leave his link top of the description. So let me know who you think's going to get the most right this week. Make sure you join the A-League Tipping League as well. And thank you for watching today's video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.